Hi and welcome. I'm so glad you found my channel. My name is Erin, and on my videos I show you how to create DIY bath and beauty products. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this thick but yet very hydrating moisturizer. This is a formula that can be made from home. So in order to create this, the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and weigh out some distilled water into my heat-safe beaker. I am using distilled water versus tap water because distilled water has had all the impurities removed from it and it is better absorbed into the skin. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add some glycerin. This is a humectant, and what it does for the skin is it will help to lock in moisture, which is wonderful, especially if you have dry or even irritated skin. Next, I'm going to go ahead and zero out my scale, and then I'm going to weigh everything that is in this beaker here, and then just write the number down. And the reason for doing so is water will evaporate during the heating process, and I will need to replace that water loss. Because I'll be needing to add some more additional water in this formula, I'm going to go ahead and add some more in to a smaller beaker. And in a separate heat-safe beaker, I'm going to go ahead and weigh out this next ingredient, which is shea butter. Shea butter is very healing, and that is because it contains several different types of fatty acids that will help to strengthen the outer layer of the skin as well as soften and hydrate the skin too. For some more hydrating benefits, I'm now adding some virgin coconut oil. This has a very distinct coconut aroma to it. It has what's known as linoleic acid, which is very hydrating for the skin, but it also will help to protect the skin's barrier, as well as offer some inflammatory benefits too. So if you have conditions like eczema or really irritated skin, this is something that will help. If you're allergic to any of the ingredients that I'm using today in this moisturizer, and you're looking for something that you can substitute it with, continue watching because I will leave some substitution recommendations for you later on in this video. So the next ingredient that I am adding is grapeseed oil. This is an oil that is very lightweight. It will absorb quickly into the skin, and it is considered to be suitable for most skin types, and that includes oily or acne-prone skin. What I love about grapeseed oil is, first of all, it will balance out the greasiness of the shea butter and the coconut oil, so you won't feel that heavy, greasy feel on the skin, and that is because grapeseed oil is known as what's called a dry oil, and that simply means that it will absorb quickly into the skin. And then the second reason why I love grapeseed oil is because it's one of those ingredients that can help with the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Jojoba oil is going to be something that I'm adding in this formula, and this is actually not an oil at all, but rather a wax. I use this a lot in my formulations, and that is because it will help to regulate sebum production. It's very moisturizing. It is something that will not clog your pores. It's great for those that are oily and acne, as well as those that have dry or irritated skin. And just like grapeseed oil, it will absorb quickly into the skin. And even though it has a thicker consistency than most oils, you will not be left with a greasy residue. I'm now going to go ahead and add some apricot kernel oil. This is just like the other ingredients that I've used thus far. It's very moisturizing and soothing on the skin. But what makes it different than most of the ingredients in this formula is it will help to brighten the skin, by gently removing any dead skin cells so you're left with skin that appears brighter. So now that I have added the shea butter along with those oils, I'm going to go ahead and add some emulsifying wax to my beaker. This will help to combine the oil and water phases together, leaving me with a very stable yet creamy and lovely feeling moisturizer. To help give this moisturizer the thickness that I want, I'm going to go ahead and add some cetyl alcohol. This is what's known as a co-emulsifier, and that simply means that you don't want to ever use this separate or on its own. You rather want to use it with another type of wax. That's why I'm using it with the emulsifying wax. And together they work really well. They will create a finished product that feels very nice and soft on the skin. Once I have added the cetyl alcohol, I'm now going to cover all the beakers that I used, and I'll be placing this on my stove in a makeshift double boiler until those waxes are completely melted. Now that usually takes me about 30 minutes in total, sometimes 35, just depending. And then if you're not sure or don't have a double boiler, you can make one by just adding a couple inches to the bottom of a pan and then placing your heat safe containers in that pan. You want to make sure to gently simmer the ingredients and not boil them because you don't want to destroy those ingredients. All right, so now everything has melted down. I'm going to start with the beaker that has my water ingredients, and I'm going to be reweighing everything in it. Remember when I mentioned earlier in this video that there would be some water loss due to evaporation? Well, now I'm just going to go ahead and check to see how much water I need to add to the main ingredients to make up that difference. Now that I've made up the water difference, I'm going to go ahead and combine my two beakers into one, and then using my stick blender, I'm going to blend this really well, and you can tell that the color has changed to a white, and that is actually the emulsifying process taking place. I like blending the ingredients for about 10 minutes or so, and this helps to ensure that everything is nicely combined together. Not only that, but it will help to cool the ingredients just a little bit faster. Once all that blending's been done, I'm going to go ahead and take the temperature of the ingredients. I want to make sure that they are below 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And here you can tell that they are. So I'm going to go ahead and add my preservative. And the one that I am using today is Liquid Germal Plus. This is a broad spectrum preservative. Anytime that you make either skincare or hair care products that might contain water or come in contact with water, it's always a good rule of thumb to incorporate a preservative into the formula. This will help to ward off any bacteria, fungi, or mold from growing in your finished product. Because I added the preservative, I'm going to go ahead and blend this formula again. I am noticing it's becoming way too thick for me to even use this blender, so I'm going to go ahead and hand stir this, just making sure that it's nicely incorporated throughout the rest of the ingredients. So now that this moisturizer has been created, I need to go ahead and take the pH of it. I want to make sure that it falls within that 4.5 to 5.5 range. And if you don't have this particular meter, that's okay. You can go ahead and use a pH strip. Just make sure to take just a little bit of the moisturizer and add some water before you use the strip. This particular one, you don't need to do that. And as I'm testing, I'm noticing that the level is a little too high, so I will need to adjust it. To adjust the pH, what I'm going to do is with my pre-made solution of 50% citric acid and 50% distilled water, I'm going to add a couple drops into the moisturizer and then allow this to sit for a minute. Once it has sat for a minute, I'm going to go ahead and stir it thoroughly together, and then I'll be retaking the pH. Again, I'm going to go ahead and check the pH with this monitor, and it looks like it is 4.7, so it's right in that range, so I won't need to do any further adjusting. Here is a look at not only the creaminess of this moisturizer, but the thickness. I'm going to go ahead and spoon this into my jar here. Now, this will continue to cool, and as it cools, it will continue to become a little more thick in consistency. Not a whole lot, just a little. This formula makes approximately 8 ounces of finished product, and this is a moisturizer that you can apply both to the face and to the body, and you can apply this as often as needed. I find that this particular formula is wonderful for those that have dry skin or even for those that have eczema. I'm gonna continue to spoon the rest of this moisturizer into my jar. I know that I will be getting some of you asking me where you can find and or purchase the pH meter that I used today in this video. I will go ahead and find either the exact one that I used or something very similar and link it down below this video. Now, I do want to reiterate that you don't necessarily need to use that exact one that I used. You could use one that is less expensive, or you could go with a pH strip. Let me show you real quick what this moisturizer looks like when I apply it to my hand. Now, I've just taken a little bit of this and I'm rubbing it in. This I found absorbed very quickly. It did not leave a greasy residue, and my skin felt very velvety soft. Here are some substitutions that I would recommend when making this moisturizer. Now, if you do not have glycerin or don't like the feel of it, you could just replace it with more distilled water. Instead of the shea butter, use mango butter. For the coconut oil, you want something similar, so I would suggest babassu oil. For the squalene oil, a good choice would be jojoba oil. Then for the apricot kernel oil, I would go with argan oil. Now, when it comes to the emulsifying wax, I have used Polo wax in the past, and it works really well. For the preservative, you can use any preservative that is broad spectrum and is suitable for use in skin and hair care. So thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more DIY formulas, don't forget to like and subscribe.